I'd like to now turn to my mate Chau to give a quick summary, if you don't mind. Chau is a very close friend of mine, and we work closely together with Prof. Ho in terms of the common actions for Malaysia. And through that connection, as well as connection with, especially with Japan and the EU, we are making a lot of headlines, if you like, on not only within Malaysia but globally on what Malaysia should be addressing. So we want to work with the Malaysian government. At the same time, we also want to work with our own Sabah government. And I'm sure that Mutia and Audrey and teams want to work with their own respective states, as well as Indonesia and Brunei. And we hope that we can do that. And I noticed that Pak Edward is in this forum as well, so which is great to see and to learn from all angles, from the government side of Indonesia to academics and to businesses. So if I ask Mate to give a quick summary, please, before we round up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Boyd. In the interest of time, I think I'll simplify my note of appreciation to everyone by just saying a big thank you to everyone and for this opportunity to kind of key points so that hopefully, this becomes some reminders to us as points to take home. And also thank you, Boyd, for putting me in this position. So it keeps me on my toe for the past 3 hours so that I pay my utmost attention to all the speakers at all times. So to keep it short, let me start by saying that among all the few sessions that I have had the opportunity with people from Sabah and Sarawak, I must say that Borneo never failed to actually impress me and never failed to inspire me. Borneo, in my view, from what we heard today, is a land which is very fortunate. What is given is a hotspot for biodiversity. It has all the resources and so on, which we, I think, need to learn to cherish and learn to actually appreciate and protect and enhance further in the name of sustainability. But I think very importantly, as what is demonstrated in these 3 hours, listening to the people speaking, looking at the comments given in the chat box, actually are the people that are present here. And I think these are people, the second point, apart from Borneo being fortunate because of what it actually has, physically, geophysically. The second point is it has the people, and which is why it is such a fortunate land. And we can see that people here are very passionate. They have shown their love for the land, for the people themselves. They have demonstrated really very strong will. Their adaptive capacity is very high. They are resilient, and out of that, we can see that they are very innovative. I think these are some of the key characteristics and qualities that we can pick out very obviously from the contents of the presentation given today. 8 altogether within 3 hours. So I think that is very impressive. And we see there are Sabahans here who are in Sabah, Sabahans who are actually away, far away, not in Sabah, and perhaps also non-Sabahan who have actually fallen in love and chose to actually settle in Sabah itself. And also, of course, people who are not Malaysians even, or out of Borneo, not Kalimantanese, not Bruneian and so on, who somehow cares a lot about Borneo being a very special island on the globe, and who actually stay on with us until now. There are still 92 people that I can see in the participants list. And I think we should all congratulate ourselves and pat ourselves on the back. As I'm sure by staying on, it clearly demonstrates that we are hardcore lovers, and also people with very strong passion for nature, for the environment. And of course, at the same time, we want to make sure as a developing country, economy and society will continue developing. And I think these are the kind of common goals that we are sharing that keep us here. And therefore, see, looking at this, I think what I can conclude is probably that I'm inspired. And I think a lot of people here must be also inspired, motivated, and also humbled in a way. So you are all inspiring, motivating, and humbling to me. And I learned a lot through listening to the 8 presentations coming from academicians, from various fields like town planning, land development, economy, law even, and we heard from entrepreneurs, activists, as well as journalists even. So from a very wide spectrum of different views and so on. And I think this is a very good organization in that we try to get a wide spectrum of people that can offer us very diverse views and perspective on this very crucial issue that we are facing here. And not only that, all this diverse group of people have given us a perspective on Borneo in terms of diversity, tackling climate change, sustainability, and so on, across the various scale of global macro level, if you like, macro perspectives of things, and also right down to the very micro on the ground place and community specific view of issues, of things happening in Sabah, in Sarawak, and also in Kalimantan. And we hope probably in the future we may get a representative from Brunei as well to complete the whole cycle. So that would be my very quick kind of 2 big points, if I may, to kind of say the overall observation that I made. And I'm not sure how much time I have here. Boyd, if I speak too much, just stop me, yes? And I'll stop immediately.
Go ahead.
But if I can still continue a little bit, I think today we heard a few key points about cities being at the core of this whole thing. Because we are living in an urbanized world, I think this is very well known. I do not need to elaborate more on that. And because of that, we all play a very key role. I like the very point mentioned from the very beginning that we all have a role to play in this, because it is not only about us, not about our generation, but our children, our grandchildren, and also the future generations. And I always, also in my sharing with my students, remind them that when we are doing this, it's not just for us, but it is really for our loved ones. I mean, for those of us who are very young, in the next few years, if you form a family, you have children, I'm sure you would be thinking hard about what kind of world are we passing on to our children. And talking about our own generation itself is the kind of built environment, the kind of human settlements that we are co-producing and co-creating now, really something which is desirable for us. And if it is not, therefore, the call for action is there, that we need to all take actions now. So we look at the importance of having science-based, evidence-based kind of policy making, and don't stop there. As mentioned by Professor Ho, we actually promote what we call science to action, or S2A, meaning that we try to take science into policy making and beyond into real action. So we talk a lot about actual implementation as well. We work very closely and work very hard with policymakers, decision makers, to try to get our policies and plans into real action. And these are very important. Otherwise, policies would just remain policies and to collect dust on the shelf. Dr. Mutia gave us a very good idea about the importance of looking into trade and investment, because environment cannot be separated from that. Every environmental policy, acts, and so on must have or must make economic sense, must make that financial cut, if you like. So from here, she gives us a very good legislative economic perspective on all this. And she also highlighted the importance of us exploring the possibility and potential for a Borneo sub-regional kind of partnership involving the 3 countries and the people, importantly. And she calls for a paradigm shift towards low carbon and climate smart development. And according to her, these are all urgently needed. So we can't wait anymore. And from that rather macro perspective, Dr. Gaim then took us down on the ground with a very concrete on the ground view about what people can do, actually touching people's life directly in a way. And I really like to share this, if I may, the 5 adaptive strategies that he highlighted on how people can be so resilient and innovative, looking into farming, household water supply, and infrastructure. I like the way he says, no highways, no electricity, it's not a problem at all. And what is important is the willpower among the people that actually carry them forward and carry them far. And at the end, of course, innovation plays a very key role here. I like the idea of the Adidas Kampung being a symbol of resilience and very high adaptive capacity among the people. And this is what is so always inspiring. We may think we live in the city, we are educated and so on, but actually we need to be very humble. And there are so many things that we can actually learn from the indigenous wisdom, local wisdom, and so on. And I think Dr. Gaim gave us a very good picture of all this. Then Audrey came in again to give us another economic perspective of climate change and focusing on Sarawak. So a bit different from what Dr. Mutia told us, because Dr. Mutia took that from a more regional perspective, if you like, covering the whole Kalimantan. And Audrey invited us to look into the specific perspective of Sarawak, highlighting the importance of looking into the cost of catastrophe, in her particular case, flooding, and how we may need to actually think about putting a price tag to be able to quantify the cost and so on. And she also mentioned the importance of doing a participatory decision making. So inclusiveness is a key part of it. And then the community need to be aware and to be ready. So promoting awareness and readiness among the people become very important. Next, we move to the humble activists. Our Topinai Bunny, I think he showed us very good examples of what people can actually really do on the ground. And it takes people with passion, a few people probably championing and so on to move things forward. His community-based renewable energy project, and then Tony Bong, literally Friends for Village Development, that is really impressive. CREATE, which is a very nice acronym and which really aptly reflect what the center does actually with the people. Looking into appropriate technologies, this is amazing. I mean, that's exactly what we need. It's not only high technology, which could be quite expensive and so on, but appropriate technology based on what we may actually extract from the local resources, including waste, and how we are able to innovatively repackage the waste into very useful implements or equipment. And in this case, it's used for renewable energy. I really like the Sabah RE Square roadmap, renewable energy and rural electrification, sorry. So Sabah RE Square. And he concluded with, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. I think that is very motivating to us. Lastly, our friend here from Iskandar, Malaysia, where I'm also based in, Eddie gave us, I think, a very good idea, taking us again up to the, if I may say, global view of what we can do. And I think he shows very clearly the fact that sustainability, stewardship of the environment and so on is actually inseparable from businesses. So in fact, businesses tend to gain rather than to lose by going into sustainability and so on. So we are going into a new era of business, so, and we need to understand that this is actually never a zero-sum game. So everyone stands to gain actually if we work in this together. And he highlights very clear opportunities for us to connect, in fact, to escalate local actions to the higher level policy strategies and institution. So sustainability is a business strategy, not just CSR. I think it's a very key point that I need to take home as well. I tend to normally look at the corporate sector as doing things, as a show of we are doing something for the society, we are returning for the society in a way of CSR. But it should go beyond that. In fact, by going green, by going sustainable, it's a business. And businesses, the corporate sector need to see this. And I think Eddie gave us a very good perspective into this. So I think that's what probably I could very quickly summarize, and also my earlier two big observations of the whole thing. And I'm really thankful to be part of this. And I think it inspires me a lot. At least we can all actually move forward. And hopefully this is not the end of it. And then all this will be put into some actions. I'm not sure whether Topinai Boyd later will talk about his declaration on the environment. But I pass it back to him. So thank you very much for this very opportunity.
Thank you, mate. That's very useful. As usual, it's a paper in itself, and that's what I wanted, because it's necessary to because we are doing a 3-hour slot, as it were, to round it off and find out what was the things that were said, what we can do, just to give.
Thank you, boy.
Thank you, boy. Thank you, Sim.
Thank you, boy.
Thank you for being here.
Here again.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you, Piero.